Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones, and this evening I'm going to get right back into the scam series. Now, this is going to be a piggyback off of the dieting scams, and I'm going to talk about nutrition scams. Now, why is that important? Well, if you think about everything, what goes into dieting that you see advertised? You get these models up there having these gorgeous bodies, and you don't really know how they got them on some of these diets, and there are different types of diets out there. Now, I'm not saying that all diets are frauds and all nutrition is a fraud, but you have enough misinformation out there to give this subject an observation. And it's very important because in today's world, everything is about instant gratification. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't trying to do what they can to be healthy, but there is a little insecurity with that as well. Why? Because you have different types of viewership. You have television, you have going out there in the real world, and of course, you have social media. And you have a number of regular individuals who are trying to be like your celebs on television, your athletes. They're trying to be overnight internet stars, but it doesn't happen. And I tell you why it doesn't happen, because getting healthy with some of these foods can be expensive. I know that Oprah used to, she was the spokesperson for Weight Watchers. Well, if you think about that, how much did it cost a month to get that type of food? Also, was that food filled with chemicals? See, the word that I see every day when it comes to nutrition, when I go into the store, is organic. Now, it's nothing wrong with plant based foods as long as they're made from real plants. But when you look at organic, now I'm not a dietitian. Well, think about it. One of the reasons why the West is a little more obese than the rest of the world is because there are a lot of chemicals in the food that we eat. We even call fat free and diet sodas, and they're good for you. There's a lot more in fat free salad dressing than regular salad dressing. There's a lot more sodium, which is NaCl or salt, in diet soda. A lot of us don't know that because that's something that's never told. See, in this country, here in America, when it comes to your health, you have to be your own doctor. You have to know what you're eating. Too much of anything could cause heart attacks. But even before that, before we start to get into cardiovascular and kidney problems, really the number one killer for everything is stress. But when it comes to these foods that we're eating, and they're being advertised as nutritious, are they really nutritious? GMOs, they're basically genetically engineered types of foods. So you can make corn on the cob and cabbage, but it takes chemicals to make that. It's something that I never heard of 30, 40, even 50 years ago. In fact, one real big issue that I have today is you have more people going out to eat than actually cooking. Now, some of our grandmothers, and even when I was coming up, I'm 59, our parents cooked. And I know in the African American community, we've always eaten pork and fried chicken. They were doing it in the past. But a number of my aunts and uncles, and even my grandparents, except for my grandfathers, they passed away early because they smoked. They had lung cancer. But my grandmothers lived into their 90s. They cooked, and everything was natural, and they were from the country. They didn't have all of these chemicals in their food. There wasn't anything advertised on TV about real diets. They didn't have to be. And of course, when the agricultural work was going on, you needed to have a lot of calories because you were working sun up to sundown to burn off those calories. You have to understand that 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. Now, let me get into a little bit of articles here, and let's look at the misinformation. Now, I will tell you that nutrition misinformation, just like everything else, does exist. Because in today's freedom of choice era, consumers may use any product they want, even if it is useless. But still, this does not give anyone a right to sell you useless products or treatments. Health fraud, the promotion of false or unproven products for profit, costs consumers billions of dollars each year. Now, again, I've always said this: education, or we say knowledge, is your best protection against health fraud. Being able to recognize health fraud before you waste your money or endanger your life is the key to preventing health fraud. Through education, you can become aware of these methods used by promoters and the language of fraud. Now, we get into misinformation misleads. Well, nutrition fraud is a leading example of health fraud. Nutrition fraud describes uses that occur as a result of misleading claims for foods and nutrition products. These products can include traditional foods, dietary supplements, dietary products, food substances, diet plans, and of course, devices. We also have food faddism, or an exaggerated belief in the effects of food or nutrition on health or disease fuels nutrition fraud. So food fads are based on some basic misbeliefs. Like number one, certain foods have special attributes which may cure disease. Number two, certain foods should be removed from the diet because they are harmful. And number three, certain foods have special health benefits. Now, nutrition fraud may lead to loss of money, failure to seek correct medical care, and or lack of money for proper treatment. Now, substituting poor nutritional practices for sound ones or disease itself can also occur. Now, in the United States, nutrition fraud is a major concern. So, what we have is the advertising. And the advertising is you have highly skilled promoters and marketing techniques that promote fraudulent products, which have replaced the traveling medicine man. Now, the matter in which nutrition misinformation reaches you can be very subtle. Our books, talk shows, magazines, you don't see too many newspapers, but on the internet, you have your newspaper articles, advertisements, and mail order companies often distort nutrition information. So, unfortunately, so can friends or family members who tell of the wonders of a special food or diet, which is unfortunate. And that is the hope that we put in a few special foods when what we need is a balanced diet. And unfortunately, many people falsify belief that anything printed or sold is truthful. So there are many federal and state agencies that regulate against health fraud. However, misleading claims about food nutrients are often difficult to control. Now, there are limits on what government agencies can do about fraudulent nutrition practices. Now, the government must observe the basic rights of freedom of speech and press. So, nutrition information, whether scientifically correct or not, is protected under the First Amendment. This means that for you as a customer, you must evaluate the accuracy of nutrition claims. Now, caveat emptor is a Latin term for let the buyers beware. Food is not magic and it is not the cure all. Yet some promoters make such claims that if they do not make the claims outright, they may use advertising to imply false claims. Therefore, being a well informed consumer is your best defense against nutrition, misinformation, and fraud. Now, here's how you spot nutrition information. Well, what I do for common sense, I'm going to ask questions, listen, investigate nutrition claims. Now, you may be able to spot false nutrition information. Many misleading claims play on our fear of disease. Also, you must read the labels, which a while ago, about 6 to 7 years ago, I had a video I did on sugar. Anything with cellulose, sucrose, it's all sugar. Now, from the FDA, here are the following tips for evaluating nutrition information. Number one, watch out for claims of FDA approval. Current law does not permit the use of the term FDA in any way that suggests approval. Number two, look for keywords. Be cautious about products that use words such as natural, miracle, cure, or breakthrough. These are not scientific words. Cures for serious medical problems are not available through the mail or door to door. Number three, ask to see the product's label. By following the instructions on a label, a user should be able to recognize the benefits claimed by the product. If the label doesn't clearly explain how to achieve all the benefits, be careful. Also, you need to check to see if the information in the advertisement or promotional material differs from the information on a product's label. FDA can prohibit the introduction of any food, drug, device, or cosmetic that is not labeled correctly. So only factual and non-misleading information can be on the label. So as a result, most false claims are not on the product label. False claims often appear in books, television, brochures, and promotional materials. So regulation of these types of materials is difficult due to the First Amendment rights of free speech and press. Number five, insist on full identification. If the advertisement mentions medical clinics or medical personnel, see that the full names, addresses, and phone numbers are available and factual. Number six, ask for proof of the product's status with FDA. All legitimate medical manufacturers engaging in interstate commerce must register with the FDA and have products listed with the FDA. Again, you have a product, you need to ask for the status, and the status must be provided with the FDA. So any legitimate manufacturer or interstate commerce, you must have a registration with the FDA. And all products listed with the FDA, that's right, all products must be listed with the FDA. Now, some drugs, medical devices, and diagnostic products require FDA's approval. Again, some drugs, medical devices, and diagnostic products require FDA's approval before marketing. So ask to see the firm's FDA registration letter, the product's listing letter, or the FDA marketing approval letter. And be careful at number 7, be careful of sponsors who say they do not need FDA approval. Some say supplements and some natural substances don't need FDA approval because they are a food or food ingredient. However, under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, a product is a drug if there is a medical claim. Drugs are articles intended to affect the function of the body. So the FDA also requires approval for combinations of approved drugs. Number 8, watch out for cures for serious diseases. Be especially careful of products that claim to cure multiple death problems. Don't treat serious medical problems by mail or door-to-door products. Number 9, be careful of self-diagnosis based only on symptoms. This can be hazardous if the diagnosis is false. So remember, everyone gets tired and gets occasional pains. So there are many causes for such universal symptoms. Now, a proper diagnosis requires a physical examination by a health professional, delaying treatment. So delaying treatment can also allow a disease to progress beyond health. So basically, if you need medication, your physician should prescribe it. Number 10, you must investigate. Investigate any star support or big name approval for any medical product. Any promoter must be able to demonstrate that the endorser has agreed to the ad campaign. Now remember, again, investigate any star support or big name approval for any medical product, because any promoter must be able to demonstrate that the endorser has agreed to the ad campaign. Remember, these are not scientific evidence, so the FDA can regulate claims made on a product label, but not what someone says happened to them. And number 11, be cautious of recommendations for vitamin or mineral doses larger than the dietary reference intakes. That's known as the DRI, or non-nutritive or nutritive compounds. Really stands for, I should say, non-nutritious. They call it non-nutritive compounds. So reliable sources will only recommend vitamin and mineral doses in line with DRIs, which a DRI again is your dietary reference intakes. Now, only certain conditions like pregnancies or serious illnesses use doses beyond the DRIs. And again, as I tell you in a scam, number 12, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, again, as I sum everything up, your right to evaluate. Always exert your right to evaluate. If you suspect that a product you're interested in is fraudulent, there are a number of things that you can do. Number 1, you must ask for evidence of all claims and a written guarantee. Number 2, check out the product and claims with your physician, county medical society, dietitian, health department nutritionist, or county extension educator. Number 3, contact the Food and Drug Administration either at its office in your area or the national headquarters. Number 4, ask the Better Business Bureau or consumer interest group about the reputation of the promoter. Number 5, inform your local post office about products promoted through the mail. And of course, number 6, do not buy immediately. Ask for time to think it over. Check out the products and claims. A legitimate product will stand up to your evaluation. I will put this information under my video description. Now, what I'm going to do is get into some YouTube videos about the fraud. And these videos are for educational purposes only. So sit back and we're going to talk about nutrition fraud, fair use.
Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Christy Shive, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Heather Norman Bergdorf. She's an extension specialist for food and nutrition for the University of Kentucky. Good morning, Heather.
It's great to see you, Christy.
It's great to have you back on the show, Heather. And today you are going to talk to us about nutrition fraud. Now, nutrition misinformation seems to be growing, and it may be difficult to know what is true and what is false with all of the things that we hear. Now, can you talk to us? What is nutrition fraud?
Yes. So nutrition fraud is very similar to health fraud. It's probably the most common form of health fraud in our day and age. And essentially what's happening is that consumers like me and you and everyone else out there are misled to believe that a product or maybe an idea about nutrition is going to be the end all be all for us, right? Like the miracle cure. It could be a specific food, a food group, a diet, a product, a supplement. Ultimately, people who are selling these ideas want us to believe that there is some benefit that makes that item or concept worth purchasing. So I just want people to know that companies and marketing strategies want us to essentially develop this exaggerated or unsupported belief. And so what we tend to see in nutrition is that a certain food, diet, or supplement is better than others and has the power to cure a disease or some superior health benefit. Or on the other hand, the idea may be that certain foods or food groups should be eliminated because they're bad. I'm putting air quotes here, bad or harmful. And essentially it's a form of fear mongering. So I'm trying to create some fear among consumers about a product or idea.
Heather, where do we most often see nutrition fraud?
These ideas are everywhere. And we've become so used to seeing them that we may not even realize it, or they don't even stand out to us anymore. So I'm just going to put us in some different scenarios. So think about standing in line at the grocery store. You have magazine covers, you're flipping through TV channels, and you're seeing a talk show or an infomercial. There's more and more books out there that are being promoted about nutrition with authors who aren't nutrition professionals. Think about the people you spend time with, right? You go into work, you overhear a coworker sharing about something that they've tried. And so, that's an experience that they're sharing with others. And then we haven't even talked about the internet, right? So the newest avenue is certainly social media with Instagram influencers, Facebook videos, TikTok videos. They're promoting something new every day. And honestly, nutrition professionals like us simply can't keep up with the new ideas, trends, and products that are popping up on the market. So that's why we need to be informed consumers, recognizing what we're seeing.
Heather, it truly is everywhere, and it can feel so overwhelming. Why is this such a concern to us?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. So let's start with money, right? So if we're clinging to nutrition frauds, it's undoubtedly going to lead to money spent, especially if you're thinking about highly priced foods that are promoted as being better, supplements or other products or practices. So we just want to be sure we're spending our money wisely. And then obviously our health. Right? We really need to be mindful of these. Folks who believe claims that are falsely made about products or nutrition-related ideas may not seek medical care that they need if they have an exaggerated belief that a food or supplement is all that they need. So this really could put people at serious risk for health issues.
Heather, what is an example of that?
Yeah, so this may seem extreme, but it's a great example. So there are cases where individuals who are diagnosed with cancer may opt out of cancer treatment in order to consume certain foods or diets in place of those evidence-based medical treatments. And so this is an example clearly where nutrition fraud is dangerous and can result in some very serious health consequences.
Heather, we're just about out of time, but how can we protect ourselves against this type of fraud?
Yeah, so certainly reach out to your extension office because they're going to have a lot of resources to help you be an informed consumer. But I just really want to encourage people to stay curious. Simply ask questions. Don't believe everything you read, see, or hear right away. And it's okay to want more information. And that is certainly being a wise consumer.
Heather, thank you so much for being with us today. If you have any questions or want more information on nutrition fraud, be sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.
Again, what you're seeing is what I verified in the article with this scam out here. And I just mentioned it. Everybody's looking for instant gratification. They're looking for ways to improve their health, but they are not educating themselves by way of the marketing that goes into fooling people. Now, many of us, we get into our emotions to try to make ourselves feel good, especially with dieting. We think we are doing the right thing. I'm not saying we aren't. But bottom line is, if it's too good to be true, then it is true. And let's go on to one more here. Fair use.
There's a very well-worn path to kind of claims that we see in the health space broadly, nutrition in particular. And it starts with the identification of the thing in the food we were told to eat for health is actually what you want to avoid. So we were told to eat X, this is why you should eat Y. The specifics of that claim can change from quack to quack. And then you proceed from there to whatever shreds of evidence they can use to build up that claim. And then, of course, this thing is also the quote unquote root cause. It's not that it's necessarily specific to any condition. It's in fact a uniform explanation for all conditions. You can achieve health by removing this thing and also purchasing an $80 supplement. We could sit here now and come up with the next one if we just thought long and hard enough about something in food. We can laugh at it, but yet this type of sequential narrative is incredibly persuasive to people.
Again, just telling you, you have to be aware what's going on out here, even with health. Something is positive about health, and you need to go get yourself, you want to talk about supplements, your physician is the best person to do it. I'm going to get into another one here. Just bear with me. Talked about let's talk about the protein. These are little shorts I'm playing. Fair use.
Over the last few years, we've seen a rise in the availability and popularity of protein-rich foodstuffs, products that are predominantly carbohydrate-based with extra protein in. So cereals, breads, yogurts even. Honestly, don't bother with these products, guys. They're a rip-off. The prices are extortionate. Carbohydrate foods should be cheap, and they usually are. Stick to protein foods for most of your protein sources. Meat, fish, eggs, dairy if you need to, nuts. And then use your carbohydrate foods for carbohydrate. Keep them cheap. Don't need to overcomplicate things. Honestly, how can 10 grams of protein from a slice of bread be anywhere near the same quality as something like tuna or egg or beef? It just doesn't make any sense to me. You're getting ripped off, guys.
Absolutely, you're getting ripped off. Health is a big billion-dollar business. And, that's the truth about a lot of these scams. Now, let me show you another one. This is from the FDA. fair use.
Somebody lift that ladder, it's casting a shadow.
Quiet, please.
Nose hairs, how we doing on
You're
nose
gonna
hairs?
need this for the shoot. You're a doctor now.
Quiet on the side.
Okay, speed.
Lose it overnight, scene 2, take 4.
Okay, everyone, and action.
We are so excited about our new scientific breakthrough. We know losing weight is important to you, so we've created Lose It Overnight, a product that's all natural, totally safe, and 100% effective. Is that right?
Natural? Are you kidding me? Our products are laced with stuff we don't even put on the labels. And safe? Well, I guess it depends what you consider safe. A chance of increased blood pressure, heart attack, or stroke.
But it sounds good. I mean, we're trying to move product.
All right, just go with it.
Don't let fraud make you a victim. You could lose so much more than weight. Learn more at fda.gov/weight loss fraud.
Now, that video I actually did a few weeks ago about dietary supplements, but you know, they all tie in to one another. And again, a lot of us, we like to eat. I like to eat, but many of us don't know what we're eating. Again, a lot of the foods have chemicals in them. They're organic. The biggest issue is the marketing and promotion. Now, as I continue with the nutrition scare, that's all they're doing. They're actually playing to your feelings. It's almost like fear. And this is what's wrong with America today. The people who are in power are always trying to create fear. This is what happened with the 19. Not going to say the full word because my channel might get snatched. But people were scared. And the reason why they were scared is because they didn't know what was going on. And this is why I always want people to know what's going on. We can pay attention to all the entertainment out there. But when something is real, we don't pay any attention to it at all because we think it's boring. We don't even think it's going to happen to us. Bottom line is, it will happen to you when you least expect it. The bottom line is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Heard your grandparents, your mothers and fathers, they've all had that slogan. Well, it is true. And just like every other scam that I do here on the 401 Talk Zone radio show, these scams not only create the fear, but they want you to spend money. And you think about it. It's just like the CDC out here. Heck, the CDC has its own non-profit organization. And you have people who work for the CDC. These are your regulators. And then once they retire, they go work for Big Pharma for more money. The people like here in Indianapolis, Eli Lilly, a big pharmaceutical. They're making money over fists. And that's what it is. If you think about all these scams, they're a quick way to make money. You look at Bernie Madoff and the Ponzi schemes. His Ponzi scheme was just like a pyramid scheme. Well, it's no different with diets. And I even believe this so-called bariatric surgery that people get to help them lose weight quick, there's an issue with that as well. Because it's more or less, in my humble opinion, the cosmetic surgery. Because if you really want to lose weight, you need a few things. More sleep, less stress, less calorie intake, more exercise. Now, those are some of the items. But the bottom line, with the foods that we're eating today, to make them taste good, they add chemicals to them. You look at some of these tomatoes out there. Some of them are really shiny. You don't know what's in that tomato. You don't even know what's in the corn you eat. You don't even know what's in the cabbage you eat. But one thing that is hidden is there's a money factor. And this is where you get your media, your advertising, your social media, propaganda. And propaganda is always big for people who don't know anything. And in the end, you only live one time. You want to save as much of your body as you can, because from the time you're living, we start dying every day, something. That's why you have a number of people today in pain, in bad posture. Some of them didn't take care of themselves. Now, of course, you had some of them that had some accidents at work. Some of them got shot. Some of them had car accidents. Those are exclusions. But for the most part, many of us, we didn't take care of ourselves because we didn't think about it. And now we're relying on these false ads to make us feel better, because that's what it's all about. And again, with a scam, each and every scam, the bottom line, it's not to get you healthy. It's to make you feel like getting healthy. Notice what I said, feel. It's all about making you feel good. And when you feel good, you act on impulse. And if you have money, you're going to keep spending money. This is why I never trust all that food that comes in from Weight Watchers and these other sources, because you're going to pay a lot of money for it. And the food is not going to taste good. Bottom line, the best way you can get rid of some of these chemicals, grow your own food. But many people don't have the resources to grow their own food. Many people don't even know how to grow their own food. Many people aren't going to grow their own food even if they could, because they're too lazy. So we live in an age where technology is doing all the work for us, but technology can't always do what a human can do. It's good convenience, but the bottom line is this. When it comes to your food, always read the label. And it must be registered with the FDA. If it's not, check with your physician. Check with some health professional. Because in the end, what you think is good is not good. And what these food source providers want to provide you, they want to provide you a way to feel good. But they don't care if you feel good or not. What they want from you is your money. And in the end, if you act on impulses or act on feelings, you're going to be another victim of the nutritional food scam. As I always tell you with the scam series, it sounds too good to be true, then it is. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for some STEM content, my second channel, the QCIS channel. And on that channel, I give you a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. And once I finish recording all of my videos on YouTube, I will upload them to my Twitter page. Now, for the QCIS channel, since it is an educational channel, that channel, the QCIS channel, gets posted on to my LinkedIn page. And in the end, always be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And I want to give you this quote for all the haters out there who have fallen for these scams. But if it isn't you, I will say this. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. And once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, which I'm the one who gives the best scam content. I don't care how big your channel is, how long you've been on YouTube. This is a place where you find the scam information, and nobody does it like me. And I'll say it again. Thank you for listening to this edition of 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. Once again, my name is Leon Jones. Sure to have a wonderful, gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.